Hey guys, JamesMCD Reviews here. Well, I'm back in Chicago, as you can see, and we are currently like 2.5 weeks into 2022. So what the hell happened? Well, as you know, I went home for the holiday. I had a really lovely time seeing my family, my friends, my girlfriend. I had planned on, getting the Spider-Man video, which is up right now. I had planned on getting that up closer to when the movie came out, but I was using my girlfriend's computer for my editing. And this is not her fault by any means, but her computer was just being really slow. It was lagging a lot. So I had to wait on her to clear out some stuff so that her computer would run faster. And at that point I was just like, okay, I need to work on the best and worst video. I'll deal with the Spider-Man video when I get back to Chicago. And then, as just a parting little gift from 2021, your boy got the virus. Yeah, I was at a holiday party with some family friends, and we had found out later on that a couple of the people there had tested positive. And sure enough, right around the same time, I had started feeling symptoms, so I went and got tested, and sure enough, as if like the year was like, oh, by the way, fuck you, here's the virus for you. So that definitely put a halt on things, because obviously I couldn't go see my girlfriend and I couldn't get any editing done. So, but anyway, enough prelude, enough preamble, because this video is already going to be long enough. We already got over the top 10 worst movies of the year. Let's finish off, let's leave 2021 on a high note with the top 10 best of the year. If you guys didn't see my last video or any of the other best and worst videos that I've done over the past couple of years, this is my own personal opinion on my top 10 favorite movies of the year. Unfortunately, I did not see every movie that came out this year, so if you think something might be missing, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what your lists are. And just like in the worst video, I decided to bring back one honorable mention. This is basically an unofficial top 11 list. So real quickly, my honorable mention for best movie of 2021, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Is it perfect? No. Is it kind of long and self-serving in parts? Sure. But not only did it redeem that dumpster fire that Joss Whedon cobbled together, but it ended up being a really solid movie. It is kind of a shame that DC is kind of distancing themselves from the whole Snyderverse, and it also seems like they're sort of phasing out everyone that was involved with that. Like Ben Affleck is out, Henry Cavill has been out. Nothing's been said on the rest of them. I think Ezra Miller might be out after this Flash movie that's coming out this year. But, I mean, crazier things have happened. If this movie can get made, then anything's fucking possible. So with all that out of the way, let's finally get this video over with so we can move on to stuff coming out this year. This is the top 10 best movies of 2021. Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think working on the TTFT episode and having to revisit the original films elevated my enjoyment of this one. This is a really strong continuation and a very natural conclusion to this trilogy. It wraps up whatever loose ends were made by the first two movies while passing the baton to the next generation. But even beyond that, it works as a standalone film. I know a lot of people called it overly referential, and yes, the third act is basically a beat-for-beat remake of the climax of the original, but for me, the references weren't as distracting as something like Space Jam 2. The movie still would have been a fun, action-packed, emotional journey with or without the callbacks. The casts are all excellent, the visual effects are solid, the film is funny when it needs to be and heartfelt where it should be, and overall, it was just a really fun time. Candyman. Nia DaCosta's first major movie, and for the most part, she knocked it out of the park. It did a good job at being kind of a reboot while also creating a mythos for the original Candyman. The idea that it's something that's passed on through generations and is prompted by the mistreatment and discrimination of black people, with Candyman as kind of an anti-hero, is a really clever way to go with it. It makes the commentary seem natural and not forced. The acting across the board is great, the cinematography is well done, there are some really chilling scenes. The ending did kind of lose me a bit, but overall the movie was pretty awesome. I'm very excited to see what this director can do with the Marvels.
by making groovy movies away.
Tick, Tick, Boom. This is Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut, adapting Jonathan Larson's rock monologue of the same name, and it kinda blew me away. I didn't know much about Larson or the show before this, but I would like to see the original just to compare them. I think the way that it's structured, cutting back and forth between Larson's narrations and the scenes playing out in the story, seems kinda repetitive, but I really resonated with the overall story. You could tell this was a very personal project for the people involved, and with the context that Larson passed away before he could see what impact he made, the movie and its message takes on a whole new meaning. The songs are certified bangers, the cinematography and editing are top tier, and Andrew Garfield, in his second best role this year, carries this movie. He juggles the determination to be noticed with the exhaustion and worry of reaching his 30s so perfectly. Not to mention, the dude can fucking sing. Ultimately, the movie really spoke to me, and I'd recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it already. Although this won't be the last time that you see Lin-Manuel Miranda on this list.
By making groovy movies away.
Dune Part 1. I may be kicking myself for this later since this is technically an incomplete movie, but god damn it, it's such a strong start. Admittedly, it is a bit slow in parts, but it does such a good job bringing you into its world, letting you know how everything works, setting up certain characters, and showcasing some gorgeous visuals. And even with a lot of heavy exposition and world building, it still manages to be really engaging. The acting was spot on, the score was absolutely epic, and even though I had never had any previous introductions to Dune, I was able to follow the story perfectly fine. I really like what they've set up so far, and I'm very curious to see where Part 2 takes it.
By making groovy movies away.
Encanto. Lin-Manuel Miranda strikes again. Encanto was such a pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting much out of this movie, and I came out with a huge smile on my face. It ditches the traditional magical Disney adventure angle and goes for a very simple story with a very relatable message. All the characters are super memorable and super likable, the animation is top notch as always, the humor for the most part really lands, and the songs have been stuck in my head as well as the rest of the world's heads since I saw it. Since Disney has been in the sequel/spin-off game recently, I'd love to see a follow-up or spin-off series in the Casa Madrigal. The world in this movie is so vibrant and fun that I want to see more of it. Chances are you've already seen this movie, but if you haven't, it's on Disney Plus now, go check it out.
By making groovy movies away.
The French Dispatch. I saw people calling this a bad movie. Do you even know what a bad movie is? Like, there are some things about it that don't work. It can be a bit overly written at times. Like, it seems like every single item in each frame has like 10 pages worth of backstory. And the third story with the food critic was kind of weak, but everything else about the movie I loved. The visuals are spectacular, seeing how meticulously crafted each scene is so cool. The film did have me laughing quite a bit, the characters for the most part were all interesting, the actors all fit seamlessly into this dry, witty world that Wes Anderson's created. And it's overall just a really solidly put together piece of art. It may not please everyone, but I enjoyed myself with it.
By making groovy movies away.
Last Night in Soho. I was sold on this movie the minute I saw Edgar Wright's name pop up, and it did not disappoint. I do agree with some people that the ending is kinda tacked on and forced, but it doesn't ruin the rest of the movie by any means. The cinematography is stunning, the set design is gorgeous, the editing and choreography of certain scenes is really well done with nice uses of reflection. There's a genuine feeling of mystique and creepiness to the film. The commentary feels like a natural part of the story. The performances across the board were great, and it's just cool seeing a director known for quirky comedy go for genuine horror. Like I said, the ending was a bit weak, but the rest of the movie was so good, it hardly even matters.
By making groovy movies away.
James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and Spider-Man No Way Home. Fuck you, it's my list. I loved both these movies and I couldn't decide where to put them, so I just put them in the same spot. But can you blame me? Both of these movies were everything I wanted them to be. In the case of Suicide Squad, this movie just showed me that James Gunn needs to direct more superhero movies. Apparently his superpower is taking any random C-list or D-list character and making them amazing. Can we get him on a Howard the Duck reboot movie already? But seriously, it was so cool to see him get to go all out on a project after getting fired from Marvel, and there are no punches pulled. It is raunchy, it is violent, it is over the top, it's brutal, and I'd expect nothing less from this director and this group of characters. It is a shame that it didn't do as well financially, but I'm sure this movie will grow an audience over time. The visuals are outstanding, the film has a great sense of humor, there's a lot of genuine heart that I wasn't expecting, and the characters are so likable and fun to watch. After a first outing that wasn't all that great, this was a major win for DC. But even with Suicide Squad and Justice League, this is still Marvel's year. After their hiatus in 2020, they came back full force with 9 new projects across movie and TV. Some were great, and others not so much. But their crowning achievement of this year was without a doubt Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie on all accounts should not work, but the fact that it does is so great, and I can't believe I was alive to witness it. The fact that 2 studios were able to bring together 3 generations of Spider-Man films and make a movie that has heart, humor, emotion, plenty of nods and references, shifts the direction of the current Spider-Man while adding development and closure to the past Spider-Man, and still making a coherent story is something of a miracle. But you could tell that everyone working on this film loved what they were doing and wanted to do right by the fans. Does it all work? No, but honestly the pros heavily outweigh the cons. The acting is some of the best in this franchise, the action sequences are super intense, the story was engaging and had real stakes and consequences, and the new pivot the franchise is taking gets me really excited to see what they're gonna do next. So whether you're a Marvel fan or a DC fan, or you're a fan of both like me, I think we ate pretty good this year.
Start making groovy moves away.
Bo Burnham's Inside. We were all inconvenienced in some way, shape, or form by the pandemic. Some of us very minorly, some of us very majorly. This incredibly personal look into how Bo spent his quarantine shows some of the negative effects that isolation can have on a person's mental state. For someone who thrives off laughter and audience reactions, to be stuck in a room trying to make himself laugh, which kinda seems like Bo has come full circle, and seeing his descent into madness can be really tough to watch at times, but it's balanced out enough by really welcome bits of comedy and an incredibly catchy soundtrack. And the songs also offer a nice bit of commentary on big world issues like the state of our government and cancel culture, to very relatable things like FaceTiming loved ones and the fear of getting older. And all these songs convey their message without being overly preachy. On top of that, from a visual standpoint, considering this was all done by one guy in his room, it looks outstanding. The cinematography and lighting are super intricate and well done. This whole special really puts into perspective how lazy the rest of us were during quarantine. You can tell this was not only a labor of love for Bo, but it was also very cathartic and therapeutic. To be that open and vulnerable in front of your audience takes a lot of courage, and I really hope he's in a better state now so he can continue to heal the world with comedy. Check this special out if you haven't already.
Start making groovy moves away.
The Father. I really want to go back and watch this again, but I know that I'm going to be an emotional mess if I do. As I said in my Oscar catch-up review, I have a grandpa in the US who is currently in a nursing home and a grandma in the UK who has dementia, so I connected with this on a few levels. Seeing the heartbreak on Olivia Colman's face trying to help her dad and put him in a better place. Like, it seems very selfish to dump your deteriorating father on someone else's door, but you can also see how increasingly difficult it is for her. But basing the whole movie from her point of view would have been way too easy and not nearly as effective. Seeing the lines between reality and delusion constantly blurred throughout the course of the film, and watching Anthony Hopkins progressively lose touch with his surroundings, the people that he cares for, and even himself, is absolutely devastating. I know there was a lot of controversy surrounding Hopkins' victory at the Oscars, and even I kind of felt weird about it at first, but he absolutely deserved the win, and his acceptance speech was very humble and gracious. But it's not just him who carries the film. Olivia Colman and Olivia Wilde were great as Anne, and Rufus Sewell and Mark Gatiss were very uncomfortable to watch. The attention to detail in the movie sucks you into the same state of mind that the main character is in, from rooms in the house changing, to the layout of the house changing, to the actors changing between scenes, to events happening out of order. is super disorienting, but incredibly effective. The cinematography is amazing, the score is chilling without being too overbearing. It's just so goddamn sad. But it's not pandering. If it was just sad for the sake of being sad, then it wouldn't be on this list. But the fact that it builds emotion naturally, has compelling characters, and a very tragic story that gives you a haunting look into what it's like with dementia, makes The Father the best movie of 2021. And there you go. Those were the top 10 best and worst movies of 2021. Let me know down in the comments what are some of your favorites and least favorites. Let me know what movies I might have missed. Do you think should have made it on the list? Let me know all that stuff down below. And once again, I say it every year. I sound like a broken record at this point, but thank you all so much for sticking around and watching my channel. Whether you just watched one video or watched multiple videos, or you stuck around long enough and subscribed, like whatever the case is, thank you all so much for even giving me your attention. I consider myself really lucky that people still care about what I have to say. It's funny, when I was being interviewed for the TTFT episode, Durden asked me,
as from a YouTube creator, two people that are restricted by the algorithms that exist out there, to all the work that goes into each video, and then you see like under 100 views, and the subscribers are growing at a very slow pace. Is that something that affects you? Because it gets to me sometimes. Do I really want to put this much work into something for an audience under 100?
You are right. It's a lot harder to get noticed in like this version of YouTube. It doesn't affect me all that much because I make my videos for me, and if an audience happens to form out of them, then that's amazing and fantastic. And I'm always like thankful for the people that do watch my stuff and do subscribe and everything. But it's not like I didn't start out my YouTube with the intention of, I'm going to be really successful and get a million views and like that. I just did it because I thought it would be a fun thing and a fun way to get my face and my name out there.
and I mean, I still stand by that, and I meant every word of it. And it's annoying because I don't think I really did a good job explaining what like some of the problems with YouTube are now, and like how it affects like small creators with just how many like changes to the platform have been made. And it's really, it's really difficult to grow an audience and, find your footing like when you're just starting out. And I mean, they managed to pull it off. They're at like over 2,000 subscribers now, so fair play on them. They've been killing it these past couple of years. But like, that's part of the reason why, like I said, I make my videos for me. And, because I know, like, deep down, if I'm expecting to get a shit ton of views and grow an audience, then I'm just going to be disappointed. So I just do it because it makes me happy. And honestly, like, this the latter half of this year, I was having sort of a bit of a crisis that I won't really go too much into detail with, where I was kind of doubting myself, and it was kind of becoming just everything with like the semester and everything, like, I don't know, just something wasn't right. And just working on these videos and working for them on that Ghostbusters episode kind of helped pull me out of it. And it was like this channel and that project were kind of the creative, like, kick in the balls that I needed to pull me out of that. So I owe them a lot for letting me do that. I'm so appreciative of them and their support for me. And as always, I'm appreciative of you guys for watching me and, listening to what I have to say. So, thank you again for another great year on YouTube, and here's hoping that 2022 will be better for all of us. Stay safe out there, make good decisions. Until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on when I'm posting. Follow me on all my social medias, subscribe to my main channel. Everything you need to know will be in the description. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you later.
Stunning 8K resolution meditation app. In honor of the revolution, it's half off at the Gap. Deadpool self-awareness, loving parents, harmless fun. The backlash to the backlash to the thing that's just begun. They